Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Jefferson Souza from Brazil. We are very surprised and honored to know that our 2010 paper on the human competitiveness of SBSE was voted by the community as the most influential paper in all previous editions of SBSE. We, for sure, don't feel we deserve it, given the list of such important and high-quality papers we have seen in the event. So, I'd like to thank the whole community for this great recognition. I'd like to thank Drs. Phil, Benoit, and Thelma for inviting us to present the paper once again and discuss new results related to the human competitiveness of SBSE. I'm really sorry I could not attend the event, but as you may be aware, Brazil is going through some very difficult times, which have significantly affected research funding. So I was not able to get the funds to allow me to go. I'd also like to thank the organizers for understanding my situation and opening up the opportunity for me to send this video with my presentation. So let's get to it. We performed a preliminary systematic mapping study of human competitiveness of SBSE with three objectives: discuss when, how many times, and in which context human competitiveness has been addressed in SBSE, bring up new results since our paper and from other researchers related to human competitiveness, and finally point out to some open questions and remaining challenges regarding this issue. But before we proceed, let's open a huge parenthesis to go back to 2010, to present once again our paper titled The Human Competitiveness of Search-Based Software Engineering. In fact, the question regarding the human competitiveness of SBSE had already been raised. In 2007, in his seminal paper on the current state and future of SBSE, Dr. Harman pointed out, and I will quote, "It would be very attractive to have convincing examples of human competitive results, and these are sure to accrue from the growing interest and activity within this area." But to that point, no comprehensive work had been published. One may argue that the human competitiveness of search-based software engineering was not in doubt, but even if that was the case, we argue that strong research results regarding this issue would likely, in the least, contribute to the increasing acceptance of SBSE outside its research community. So we performed a set of experiments to verify whether the results generated by SBSE could be said to be human competitive. As recognized by GECO, one of the 8 criteria which can be used to characterize the human competitiveness of automatically created results is this: the result holds its own or wins a regulated competition involving human contestants in the form of either live human players or human written computer programs. So all we had to do was to set up a competition between humans and machines, represented here by SBSE algorithms. But which ones? And that brings us to the second research question. How do different metristics compare in solving a variety of search-based software engineering problems? Now I'm going to show you the details of our experiments. We considered the following problems: the next release problem, the multi-objective next release problem, the workgroup formation problem, and the multi-objective test case selection problem. They were selected because they are classical formulations and cover different phases in the software engineering development process. For each problem, 2 instances, A and B, with increasing sizes. The algorithms were, for the mono-objective problems, GA and SA, for the multi-objective problems, NSGA2 and MoCell, and for sanity check in both cases, random search. We had the participation of 63 human subjects, all professional software engineers, with different experiences, solving some or all instances. Besides solving the problem instance, each respondent was asked to answer the following questions: how hard was it to solve the problem instance? How hard would it be to solve an instance twice the size? And what do you think the quality of a solution generated by you over an instance twice this size would be? As metrics, we selected quality for the mono-objective problems, hypervolume, spread, and number of solutions for the multi-objective problems, and execution time in both cases. Now let's summarize the results. GA generated better solutions than SA for mono-objective problems. NSGA2 outperformed MoCel in terms of hypervolume and number of generated solutions. But MoCel performed better than SGA2 when considering spread and execution time. Now let's consider the human competitiveness results. As you can see in the table, for the mono-objective problems, GA performed significantly better in terms of solution quality. When considering time, as expected, the performance of the automated approach is only a fraction of the time required by humans, which in average took around 28 minutes to solve each mono-objective problem instance A, and around 69 minutes for instance B. And when we look at the multi-objective problems, we have pretty much the same behavior. Here is an example of the solutions generated by NSGA2 and MoCel compared to the ones produced by humans. So when considering the human competitiveness question, the experiment strongly suggests that the results generated by search-based software engineering can, in fact, be said to be human competitive. Now let's close our parentheses and come back to 2018, to our objectives. To achieve those objectives, we conducted a systematic study, searched for primary sources, screened all papers, classified them, and finally collected the desired data. To find the primary sources, we carried out a snowball reading, using our 2010 paper as a start paper, and considering both forward and backward procedures. Snowballing refers to using the reference list of a paper and the citations to the paper to identify additional sources. In this process, we identified a set of 53 and 37 papers as to backward and forward, respectively. Then, we performed some inclusion, exclusion procedures and ended up with 29 articles. After analyzing those papers, we classified them into three major dimensions: publication forum, software engineering area, and context of discussion, with the following categories: A. Works that empirically evaluate the human competitiveness, or B. Works which only mention it as part of their fundamental background. Now let's look at the results regarding research question 1. As you can see, since 2009, at least one work dealing with this subject was published every year. In addition, the number of works on this topic considerably increased after our 2010 paper. When we look at where those papers have been published, we will see that the SBSE was the most frequent venue, with 5 primary studies, followed by the Brazilian Symposium on Software Engineering, with 2 publications. Among journal publications, the International Journal of Computer Applications, Journal of Empirical Software Engineering, and the ACM Transactions on Software Engineering and Methodology were the most frequent ones, with 2 publications each. In the graph, you see that 48% of the publications were done in conferences, and 41 in journals. In addition, we investigated in which software engineering area the human competitiveness has been addressed. To do that, we used the 2012 ACM Computing Classification System and included a category named Theory of SBSE to reflect those studies which are focused on discussing the role of SBSE as a research field. As we can see, human competitiveness was addressed in 5 different software engineering areas, with requirements, specification, and software product verification with 10 studies each. When we look at the context in which the human competitiveness has been addressed, the majority, that's more than 75% of the articles discussed it simply as a baseline argument, and only 7 papers in fact empirically evaluated the human competitiveness in the search-based software engineering context. In the paper we wrote to follow this presentation, and it is published in the event proceedings, we discuss in some details each one of these papers. Another interesting result to be emphasized is that in all evaluations the SBSE approaches were able to outperform the human-based solutions. As you can see from the figure, only 2 papers with human competitiveness contributions were published before our 2010 paper, respectively in 2006 and 2009. As conclusions, this study confirms the increasing interest in discussing human competitiveness in SBSE, especially after 2010, and that we identified the SBSE as the publication forum with the most papers on that issue. In addition, we observed that most papers, that's more than 75% of them, only discussed human competitiveness as a baseline argument, with only 7 papers actually producing human competitiveness results. Finally, we can draw some remaining challenges to the field. The first one would be to have more work done in different SBSE tasks to help validate the results produced so far. In addition, experiments on human competitiveness should focus on realistic settings over real-world data in order to simulate, as well as possible, the scenario in which humans are required to solve problems. Also, the human competitiveness of non-conventional, different optimization approaches should be addressed, including and especially human-in-the-loop approaches. And finally, we have a huge challenge to incorporate the culture of evaluating the human competitiveness of the results produced by SBSE. In a way, authors would be compelled to systematically add humans in the evaluation of their automated approach. That's it, my friends. Thank you very much once again, and I'll see you. Bye.